Hi, I'm Russ.
I'm Sean. You're watching MasterJacks.
Today we've got the 95 Geo Metro, needs rear brakes. When you hop in and set the parking brake, it comes clear up to your armpit, and all you have to do is breathe on it and it rolls backwards. So I'm going to rip the tires off and get it done.
Raise the vehicle, take off the hubcaps, take off the lug nuts, and get that back wheel off so you can get at the rear brakes. Two Phillip head screws retain the drum to the hub. They're probably rusted in place. If you use an impact screwdriver like we're using here, you'll get some mechanical advantage in breaking those free without stripping them. The drum's rusted in place pretty good here, so we're going to put on our lug nuts and we're going to smack on the face of the drum to see if we can pop it free from the hub. We're putting the lug nuts on so that we don't accidentally damage the studs if we miss. She's still on pretty tight, so we're going to insert two grade 8 5/16 coarse thread bolts into the holes that are opposite the retaining screws, and we're going to tighten those up. We're not going to put them in so tight that they strip the holes out or break the studs, but enough to put some tension between the drum and the hub. Then when we smack with a hammer, hopefully it'll pop the drum free. And in our case it did. So we'll go ahead and tighten those screws up a little bit more, see if it's pressing off good. Yep, it is, nice and easy. So we'll go ahead, remove our lug nuts, and pull off this drum and get started on the hardware removal. The center retainer springs for the front and rear shoe are removed by depressing the spring and rotating the pin that comes through from the back 90 degrees. Once you do that, you can poke the pin out. Before we do the back one though, let's pause for just a second. We got a little ahead of ourselves in the excitement of video recording and took out these springs first. We really should have taken out the lower spring, the long one across the bottom, and the long spring across the top before we did these two center ones. It just makes it a little easier. So when you do this, don't do it like we did. Remove the bottom spring, the top spring, and then the two center springs, and it'll make the job a little bit easier for you. With that in mind, let's continue with the hardware removal. Still removing hardware. We're going to take off that little short spring in the back there from the automatic adjuster and the rear shoe. Okay, we need to take the parking brake cable off the lever, so pull back the spring, hold the cable, and release it from the lever. There's an additional short spring in the hardware kit. We're going to take the old spring off the automatic adjuster, clean it up, and put the new one on. Take the drum off the other side of the vehicle, clean it up good, and use this for a reference when assembling the other side. We're going to take the C-clip and brake lever off of the old shoe that from the side we just disassembled, and chuck that. All your new shoes are the same, so pick one, and on the top inside of it, install the brake lever and C-clip again.
Okay, so going to put the shoe on, we've got the rear shoe, the parking brake assembly on it. So when we go to install this has got to catch the parking brake cable, so we'll hook that in, roll this in place. These clips here are specific to the side of the vehicle. So at least this piece is different, whether it's the passenger side or driver's side. You need to find the one that will fit over the shoe right here and line up on the hole. There's just no way to get it. If you've got the wrong one, you'll just find you can't get it in there. But this is the piece that fits on the rear shoe. So we're going to start by attaching this to the parking brake cable. and getting that locked in where it needs to go. It locks underneath there with the spring on the other side. I'm holding the pin in from the back with my finger, and then that little tab locks behind the shoe, goes over the hole. You can press this in, and with any luck I can turn it from the back to get it in position. Now we've got the pin twisted 90 degrees, and that's going to hold everything kind of up here in place while we get the other parts ready to go on. This automatic adjuster goes into there on this shoe, and then over here it's got to fit into the shoe across from it. A little groove. For right now, we just need it pretty close to where it goes, and I can put a pin and a spring on this side, and it'll help us hold everything in place.
You should be able, you got it set.
I've kind of got that twisted enough that it's catching it. And get that to lock in where it's supposed to be, right there. Probably just add this after. That's one of the things you learn by doing the first side. There, without putting a new hole in my thumb. There we go, just like I knew what I was doing. When all else fails, you go to the trusty Leatherman universal tool. And just get that spring to pop in just like that.
Alright, back to narration here. We want to give this thing one final look over before we put the drum on and clean it up. We want our lower shoes to be resting against the pivot pins on the bottom. We want to make sure all of our springs are installed. We don't have anything left over for this side in the brake hardware kit. We want to go up to top. We want to push the cam in the automatic adjuster all the way inbound, and that will be its shortest spread, which will allow the drum to slide over top of those shoes. Then we're going to go ahead, clean up the drums, wipe them down good, and then do the same thing with the shoes themselves, and make sure we got all the oil and fingerprints off of everything.
One quick wipe to make sure we got all the grease and everything out of that. Line everything up. Get the right set of holes here. And that drum slips right on. Got to make sure that it goes over the hub.
A little bit of anti-seize on the screws will make life easier for you next time. That's what he's painting on there.
And these just need to be hand tightened down.
Repeat the process on the other side and you'll have your rear brakes done. You can use the side that's completed for reference if you need it now.
Here he comes, rallying down the driveway. Ooh, nice. Little drift slide with the parking brake. Rear brakes are working excellent.